So before we solve, there's a couple that I want to go over because you're going to see these types of problems today. And if we can make sense of it now, it'll be easier later. Okay? Okay, so the square root of 2, right? We talked about square roots all last week. That's what we talked about, right? Square roots was pairs, third roots are cubes, fourth roots, 4 of a kind, all that stuff, right? What does squared mean, though? So if I square something, what does that mean? Multiplying it by itself, right? Multiplying it by itself. So really, this problem means, really this is the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, right? That's what it means. Also last week, we talked about how do we multiply roots, right? What's the rule for multiplying or dividing roots? Exactly. Multiply inside times inside, outside times outside. And if there's nothing outside, remember, it's always 1. So there's a 1 here that you don't have to write. There's always a 1 there. So inside times inside, 2 times 2 is 4. And then since it's just 1 times 1, you can write the 1 there, but you don't have to. And then we simplify, right? What's the square root of 4? 2. Okay. Let's look at 1b. Multiply by itself, right? Same thing, outside times outside, inside times inside. Well, the inside is going to be 9 times 9 is 81. Outside times the outside, there's a 1 and a 1. You can put the 1 if you want. It doesn't hurt, but I'm not going to write it. And then the square root of 81 is 9. So what are you noticing about the question and the answer? They're the same, right? They're the same. Why are they the same? Why is the question, why is there a 2 over here and a 2 in answer, 9 and 9? Because they're inverse operations. Square root and squaring are inverse. They're the opposite. It's like adding 2, now subtracting 2. You're back where you started, right? So that's why anytime you do an inverse operation, it's always going to lead you back to where you started. So let's use that thought. Without doing all of the math, what do you think the answer to 1c is going to be? Just x. Just x. And what do you think the answer to 1d is going to be? X plus 5. You're just undoing what you just did, right? It's like tying your shoe and then immediately untying it. You're back to where you started, right? It's the same thing. That's why those go like that, because you're going to see these. We're going to see guys like mainly C and D. We're going to see those today. And if you can do that, identify that quickly, it saves you time later. Okay? All right, so there's the steps on how we're going to do today. But let's just get in. I wrote the steps on the board too. Let's just do the first problem. So it says solve, right? Anytime we solve like we did last semester, I'm always going to draw a line here. You don't have to, but it helps me to divide the two sides. Okay. Step 1, isolate the radical. So I like to highlight the radical just to show where it's at. So this is the radical. It's the square root, right? It's a square root of x plus 10. So they want you to isolate it. Isolate means get by itself, right? Well, is there anything else except the square root on the left side? There's a negative 4, right? The negative 4 is not inside the root. It's outside. So what step 1 says is I have to get rid of that negative 4. Well, how do I do that? How do you get rid of something when you're solving equations? Add it to both sides. Good. Plus 4, plus 4. You guys have done this many, many times. So then I bring my root down. X plus 10, and then I get positive 3, right? So now the only thing I have on the left side of the blue line is a square root. That's what I want. That's step 1. Step 2, get rid of the square root. So how do I get rid of the square root? Square it or cube it. Which one is it? Well, it's going to be square, yeah, because this guy is a square root, right? It's not a third root. It's a square root. So you're going to square it. But it's an equation. So you got to do it to both sides because it has to be equal. Okay? So here we go. 3 squared. What is 3 squared? Not 6. 9. Good. Okay. Here we go. We're going to see this. We saw this up at example 1. What's the square root of x plus 10 squared? X plus 10, yeah. Inverse operations. They just undo themselves. Get x by itself. Subtract 10 from both sides. That's step 3. Step 3 is just get x by itself. -1. Okay. Extraneous solutions. We saw the extraneous. Does anyone remember what an extraneous solution is? Why? It's a solution, right? But why do we call it extraneous? What does extraneous mean? It's an answer that doesn't work, right? It's an answer that doesn't work. We got the answer, but it just doesn't work. For some reason, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work for this guy? I'm going to explain it to you today. Get your calculators ready. Get your calculators handy. I'm going to explain it to you right now. Okay, so this is how you check. This is how you check. It's always important to do this, either on paper or on your calculator. I don't care. You don't have to show me this step on your assignment or on your quiz or test. I don't need to see it, but I'll know if you did it or not because some answers will be extraneous. Okay. So really, how to check your answer is you plug in your answer back into the original, right? There's only one spot I can plug it back in. Instead of x, I'm going to put -1. Okay? I'm going to go and see what that equals. I'm going to go to my calculator. So go to your calculator. Let's see, calculator. There we go. Okay, so my calculator, I'm going to put that exact thing in there. Square root, the square root is just above the parentheses. -1 plus 10, right? And then it was it plus 4 or minus 4? Minus 4, right? But I don't want -4 inside, so I'm going to use the little cursor. I'm going to use the right cursor to get out of the square root, and I'm going to put -4. And then I'm going to hit enter. Is that the same answer I got on the paper? Does it equal -1? On the notes in the question, was it equal -1? Yeah. Equals -1. So that means it's a true statement. We're good. Okay? So this answer is not extraneous. It's an answer that we're definitely going to use. Okay? Done. Okay, so let's go to example number 3 on the back. Okay. Same directions. Solving. Anytime it says solve, I'm going to draw my blue line all the way down. Okay, and then I'm going to also look to see where my square root is. Where is my root? Okay. Step 1, get the root on by itself, isolate it. Well, the root is on the left side, right? Is there anything else besides the square root that's on the left side? No. The only thing is the root. There's no +4 in the front or anything here or anything, right? It's just the root. So they actually did step 1 for me. Okay? So go to step 2, get rid of the root. Well, it's a square root. So I'm going to square it, just like I did the last one. What's the square root of 6x plus 7 squared? 6x plus 7, just like it's been all day today. Okay, so let's look at the other side, though. How do I multiply x plus 2 squared? I'll give you a hint. You've done it a lot in this class. We haven't done it this semester, but we did it a lot last semester. Starts with a B. Close. Starts with a B. has 3 letters. Box. Yep, box. Multiplication box. It's a binomial. It's a binomial that we need to multiply. So, multiplication box. If we're multiplying binomials, we always use a multiplication box. That's why we did it first semester, because we'll always come back to it. So x times x is x squared. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is positive 4. Combine like terms. Positive 2x, I can add them together to make 4x. Put it back in. Put it back to where it came from. Oops, not 2x. 4x plus 4. Okay. So I'm here now. I got to solve still. How do you think I'm going to solve? And I'll give you a hint. You did this a lot last semester too. What do you think I'm going to do to solve? Two words. One starts with a B, different, not box, but a different B, and the other one starts with a T. They kind of sound the same. Binomial and trinomial. Right there. How do we factor and solve binomial and trinomial? That's why I left them on the board. Okay? How do I know it's going to be a binomial or trinomial and not like number 1? Well, because I have a squared. If you have a squared, it's going to be either a binomial or a trinomial. So what did you do last semester? We're going to make one side equal to 0 and see if it's a binomial or trinomial. So let's start with 6x. It's positive 6x. So I'm going to subtract it from both sides. If I subtract it, I get negative 2x. Positive 7, I need to get rid of that, so I'm going to go negative 7 or minus 7, right? Just like all of this stuff we did last semester, which is why we did it last semester, because we always come back to it. Minus 3. Trinomial. Turns out it's a trinomial. So step 1 for solving or factoring a trinomial is it in the correct order? Big power, medium power, littlest power. Yeah. Is there a GCF besides 1? No. Okay. ABC. A is 1, B is negative 2, C is negative 3. You're going to multiply A times C, red times green. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. B is negative 2. What are the two numbers that multiply to be negative 3 but add to be negative 2? Negative 3, positive 1, yeah. X minus 3, x plus 1. Oops, I didn't put a 1. 1. Okay. Bottoms up. A was 1, so we got to divide by 1. Doesn't change anything, but always check. Okay. How many answers are we going to get? 2. 2. Some of you could do this in your head. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get this and that. Go for it. If you don't remember how we got our 2 answers, I'll do the step. Set them equal to 0. So on one side, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. On the other side, I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So I get 2 answers. Positive 3, negative 1. Before I go on, though, I have to check. So you're going to use your calculator to see if both sides are the same. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to plug in 3 for x. Well, it's 6 times x. So 6 times 3 is 18, plus 7 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. Do I get the same answer when I plug it into the other side? 3 plus 2? Yeah. You get 5 on both sides. Now let's do -1. 6 times -1 is -6 plus 7, +1. What's the square root of +1? 1. -1 plus 2, does that also give you +1? Yeah. Both are okay, none are extraneous. The next one, there's going to be extraneous. This one there wasn't, the next one there will be. I'll show you the next one. So this is what we're going to do. We got 2 more problems. We're going to do 2 more. And then if you look, there's a big old gap after number 5. There was supposed to be a number 6, but what I did instead was I made it into a exit ticket. So then I'm going to give you one last problem to do after number 5. You're going to do it on here, and then you're going to turn it in, and we'll be done. Okay? Exit tickets I don't grade. I just want to know what you know. Can you do it? How many steps could you do? If you didn't get the answer, did you finish step 2, step 3? Did you make it to step 4? It helps me with tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be practicing. So it helps me kind of set up what type of practice we need. Do we need more practice, less practice, more practice here, less practice there, that kind of thing. Okay? All right, so let's do number 4. So just like last semester, always okay to go faster than me. If you kind of get this, some of you guys are like, yeah, I kind of get this. Go for it. If you're like, I'm not quite sure, then wait. It's always okay to go faster than me or keep up with me. It's never okay to go slower than me. There's no reason to go slower than me. Okay? All right, so step 1. Oh, where's the root? There's the square root. Okay. Isolate, well, the only thing on the left side is the square root of 11 minus x. So step 1's already done. Step 2, get rid of the square root. Okay, so one side is going to be 11 minus x. The other side, I need to do a multiplication box. Let's see, x minus 5 and x minus 5. Okay, then we multiply. X squared, negative 5x, negative 5x, positive 25. Combine like terms. We get x squared minus 10x plus 25. Move it back in. It's got an x squared. So it's either going to be a binomial or a trinomial. So it's negative 1x, so I'm going to add 1x to both sides to try to make it a binomial or a trinomial. Minus 9x plus 25. It's positive 11, so I'm going to subtract 11 from both sides. So it ends up being a trinomial. Okay. A is 1, B is negative 9, C is positive 14. So it's got to multiply to be 14 and add to be negative 9. There's not a lot of things that multiply to be 14. 14 and 1, 2 and 7, that's about it. Which one is going to make negative 9? Negative 7, negative 2, yep. A version of 7 and 2, just negative. We're going to put those back in. X minus 7, x minus 2. So we're going to get two answers, just like we did on the last one. X minus 7 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0. Add 7 to both sides, add 2 to both sides. Okay, it gets positive 7, positive 2. I told you this earlier, and it's true, one of them won't work. One of them is extraneous, so we're going to find out in a second which one. Okay, we're going to plug them back into our calculator. One side we have 11 minus 2, or 11 minus x. So first thing I'm going to plug in is 7. 11 minus 7 is 4. What's the square root of 4? 2. Do I get the same answer if I plug it in over here? 7 minus 5? Do I get positive 2? Yeah. 7 minus 5 is positive 2. Positive 2 is not going to work, and I'm going to show you why. If I do the same thing, plug in 2, 11 minus 2, 9. Square root of 9? 3. Plug it into the other side. Do I get 3? 2 minus 5? I get negative 3. Positive 3 and negative 3 are not the same number. In real world math, positive 3 means here's $3. Keep it. Negative 3 means, no, you owe me $3. Those are big, those are different concepts, right? It's different concepts. One's positive 3, one's negative 3. Owing versus here's money, right? So how do we write it? Remember, we cross it out. We don't erase it. Don't erase it because it's an answer. And then you're going to put extraneous solution. Just like you did last semester. We had extraneous solutions last semester. That's the reason we had them. Okay, so you have one answer. Technically you had two, but one of them was extraneous. Because when I plugged it in, it didn't give me the same number on both sides. It gave me two different numbers. Okay. Yeah, go for it. All right. Okay, one more we're going to do together, then I'll let you guys work on the practice or the exit ticket, and we'll be done. Okay, here we go. All right, blue here. Okay. This one's a little weird, because we have square roots on both sides. Usually I just have them on one side. This one I have them on both. So because of that, I can't isolate yet. I'm going to come back to step one. So actually, I'm going to start on step 2 for this one. This is the one where I started on step 2. So since they're square roots, I can square them. You can't isolate something when there's more than one of it, right? I can isolate it when there's one, but I can't isolate it when there's more than one. There's nowhere to hide it. Okay? All right. So the second step, this is x minus 10, just like it's always been, right? Is the other side going to be x minus 2? No, it's not going to be x minus 2. Why not? Because the negative 2 is not in the root. Negative 2 is not in the root. Okay, so what do? I have to do what I did on the last two problems. Box. I have square root of x minus 2 or negative 2. Square root of x negative 2. Multiply. What's the square root of x times the square root of x? If you don't know off the top of your head, look at 1c. Look at example 1c. We did this one earlier. What did we get for number 1C? Because this is the exact same problem we did. X, right? We got X. That's why I put it in first problem, because I knew we'd come back to it. Okay. -2 times the square root of X. Is the -2 going to go underneath the square root? That's not how we multiply, right? There's a 1 in front here. I don't multiply -2 times X. I multiply -2 times the 1 in front. So it's going to be -2 and a square root X. Those won't mix. The -2 cannot go inside because it's not inside to begin with. Same thing here. And then the other one's just going to be +4. Okay. Combine, oh wait, let's write down what we have. Before we combine any like terms, let's write down what we have. I have X. I have -2 with a square root X. I have another one that looks like it, and then I have a 4. Do I have any like terms? Yeah, I do. I do have 2 like terms. One of them is here. It has the same square root. If 2 things have the same square root, they're both like terms. So remember, we did this Thursday and Friday. How do I add these 2 together? You keep the square root the same. You just add the numbers in front. -2 plus -2 makes -4. Bring everything else down. And now I can move it back in. Now there's only 1 square root. So I can go back to step 1. I'm going to go back to step 1 because I couldn't do it earlier, but I'm going to go back to step 1 because there's only 1 square root here. Everything else I don't want. So the +4 I don't want. So I'm going to -4 from both sides. I get -14. The positive x I don't want. It's +1x. So I'm going to subtract 1x from both sides. When you do that, they both go away. I'm almost there. I almost have the square root by itself. But I have the -4 in front. So I have 4 options. How do I get rid of that -4? I can add it, subtract it, multiply, or divide it. So which of those am I going to do to that? Am I going to add 4 to both sides? Am I going to subtract 4 from both sides? Multiply or divide? So if you're not sure, this is how I know. Is there a plus sign in between -4 and the square root? No. Is there a minus sign in between? No. Is there a division anywhere? No. So if they're stuck together like that, it's always multiplication. There's always multiplication if they're stuck together. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I get square root of x. Even though 4 doesn't go into 14 evenly, it's still a negative divided by a negative. That makes a positive. So I can just rewrite it as 14 over 4. You can reduce it to 7 over 2. That's okay. Last step, how do I get the square root by itself? Square it. The square root of x squared is x, right? How do I square root a fraction? If you don't know, your calculator knows. Ask your calculator. Put it in just like that, and it'll tell you what it is. It says, so you go 14 divided by 4 in parentheses, and then you say squared. Squared is right above, right next to the square root is squared. Hit enter. 49 divided by 4, you can write it like that, or you could write it as a decimal, 12.25. Either one's okay. If you're not sure which one, write them both. 49 over 4, which equals 12.25. Done. Okay, all done. So that's what we do if we have square roots on both sides. If you only have it on one side, we do what we did with 1, 2, and 3. But if they're on both sides, that's what you do. Okay? This doesn't happen a lot, but it could happen sometimes. Okay? So this is what I want you to do now. I'm going to give you a problem to do, one problem. You're going to do it on one side. So on one side, put your name. Put your name on one side. On the other side is where you're going to do your work. The reason I want you to do that is because I don't look at your name. I'm not grading this. I want to know who it was so I can make sure everyone's doing it. But this is not for a grade. This is what your best you can do. The only time I ever grade this is if you don't give your best effort or you just don't do it. Some people just say, I'm not going to do it. Well, then I'll grade it. Okay? But if you try your best, if you can only do step 1 or step 2, that's fine. If you can only make it to step 3 and you forget about step 4, it's okay. Okay? I'm not grading this. I just want to see. It helps me with tomorrow what we need to practice. Okay? What we need to practice. I put them in 3 piles. Like this is the pile. What I do afterwards is I put them into 3 piles. These are the pile of, these people got it. They know what they're doing. The middle pile is they were close. Maybe just a little bit, step 3, step 4, maybe they just made a little tiny mistake. And then the other pile is everyone else. And I try to see whose pile is bigger. Okay, that helps me for tomorrow for practice. Okay? So just try your best and you'll be fine. So put your name on one side, and then on the other side do the problem. Okay? So, depending on what seat you're at. If you're at a red dot seat, if you're on the left side, you're going to do the red dot problem. If you're on the yellow side, you're going to do the yellow dot problem. Okay? You can use your notes. It's not a test. It's not a quiz. Even if it was, you could still use your notes. You can use your notes. I can't help you because I want to see what you can do, but you can use your notes. You can use the calculator. Okay? I'll give you a hint for both of them. For both of them, make sure you do step 4. Make sure you do step 4. I'll give you a hint for both of them. Okay? Like I said, if you can only do the first couple steps, that's okay. If you can do most of the steps, great. If you can do all of the steps, even better. Okay?